Good morning, everyone. My name is Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks for joining me today for Flosstube 127, I think. I probably should have looked. As my first cup of coffee, my only cup of coffee, I drink one giant cup of coffee a day, and this is my cafe mug. I had gotten a set of 4 of these mugs 15 years ago from my aunt, and they're the only mugs I drink out of. Like, I have my ratio of additives to coffee perfect. And so you can see it's like the perfect color with just a tint. It's like just a hint of dairy in there. Anyway, you're not here to talk about my coffee. You're here to talk about stitching. And I don't have a ton to show you. I'm working on 2 models that I will show you. I do have a little gift that I received, which kind of goes into why I haven't been here for a while. Unfortunate things have happened to me and my family in the past 2 months. And so I took an unexpected trip and have not been doing much crafting and definitely have not been doing filming. I do want to thank everyone for how excited you all seem to be about my freebie video. I'll put a link to that up here. I don't remember where that goes when I put the little in the eye. But if you haven't seen that, I did a 50 plus freebie spooky season pattern video. And so that's been getting a lot of love. So I appreciate that. And in the spirit of that, since that seems to be what people like, I have a freebie for you at the end of this video, which is back to school freebie, which is really, really cute. From a designer that I've never heard of before and yet feel like I should know because apparently she's in all sorts of magazines. So I may just be out of the loop. I'll talk about that later. But before we get to any of that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. I've had an influx of subscribers from that freebie video, so thanks for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. Welcome back to anyone who's been with me for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy, which I have down below. This will be an unedited video because I just don't have the energy for that. But I do have other video ideas that I want to put out that are edited, so we'll see where they go. And yeah, thanks for joining me in my crafty and artistic adventures. I appreciate it. So let's talk stitching. Oh, and I want to thank my patrons. I have a Patreon that I have recently changed. I only have 2 tiers now. It was getting a little overwhelming with my job and my personal life. And so basically I post a few times a month, stitchy things, history things. I'm a medieval historian, and so that's kind of my bag, but I also teach other things. And often I post things I'm teaching. So this semester I'm teaching a medieval Europe class. I'm a college professor. I teach a medieval Europe class, and so I will, send out things that I think people might be interested in. I also have a vlog that I post once a month. So I'm about to post my August vlog this weekend. But if you're interested in supporting what I do and keeping up with my stuff, the link to that is also down below. And I have an Etsy shop, which is also down below. And I do medieval themed patterns and temperature patterns and just some other kind of reproductions of historical lacework in particular. So I don't really do samplers. I have one sampler, but I don't really do samplers. It's a modern sampler based on historical motifs. But I have a very specific style. So if you're interested in that, that link is also down below. And anyway, let's get to stitching. So the 2 things I have to show you that I've stitched are both models. I'm in the middle of stitching my model for the Stitchy Goodness zine, which is currently out and will be available until the 17th, I think, September 17th. I'll post a link down below, but it is witchcraft themed. It is witchcraft themed. And so now this is backwards for me, so I hope it's forwards for you. That doesn't usually happen. That's interesting. Anyway, I think my phone reset itself. So this says, it's going to say, they didn't burn witches, they burned women. So So that's my contribution to the Witchy Goodness zine. I've posted about this all over on Instagram, so you can check out, including all of the other patterns, models and whatnot for them. But I did not have time to stitch this, and so I'm stitching it now. I'm almost done. It uses DMC, and it is on a, for a while I was getting the color and cotton grab bags. This is on a color and cotton grab bag, but I thought that the color looked kind of like singed wood. And so I thought that was nice. But I'm especially proud of those flames, I have to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm working on that. It's only like 5 or 6 colors. It's a pretty quick stitch. I don't know how many stitches it is, but it's small. This is on I would say this is on a 16 count aida, a 16 or 18 count aida. I can't tell off the top of my head. And it's small. So this will easily fit into a frame. So that's the first thing I've been stitching. And the second thing I've been stitching, which I said I wasn't going to show again, but I just have so little to show for my time away. So I have a series of medieval marginalia patterns. Some of them are a little bit risque. Some of them, I need to put some of them behind me. Some of them are just funny. But basically illuminated people put lots of fun creatures and things in the margins of illuminated manuscripts. I mean, we'll just call them that. They're not quite illuminated in the same way as like a illuminated letter, but they have pictures in them and they're hilarious. They're hilarious. I have a tattoo on my arm of one of them. But the one I'm doing now, I have one in the works. I'm calling it A Lady with a Secret, but you don't see the lady, you only see the secret, which is too bad. But, and that's where I am. And these are all using the same color family, same color scheme. Browns and blues and greens and peaches. So this one doesn't have any green in it, but it does have blue and peach. And there's a little dude. And this is they're all in DMC, and I always stitch the models in Cedar River Linen and Design, which is based in the Pacific Northwest, and I use Overcast. So this is Overcast. I like it because it looks very parchmenty. And Jody from Trixie Tricycle is the owner and dyer of these fabrics, and they are eco-friendly and just really high quality. So highly recommend. Oh, and DMC. Did I say DMC? All DMC. I like working in DMC and I like designing in DMC because I find that it's more, it's available and relatively inexpensive for a relatively good quality. There is nothing wrong with DMC. It is consistent over the years. So they make a few changes every once in a while. But in general, if you get a pattern from like the 90s and they're DMC, you can almost always find either those colors or there will be a conversion somewhere to find other colors. I love me some fancy floss. I really do. I love me some fancy floss. But I don't know how long those companies will be in business. And what if someone wants one of my patterns in 10 years and those companies aren't in business anymore? Or you can't get them anymore, or they've changed their formula or something, right? So I love them and I use them in my personal stitching a lot, but for designing, I just don't want to limit the time when folks can stitch my stuff. I do kind of want to try Cosmo. I have a couple Cosmo, and folks like Christy from Pixel Pixie Cross Stitch and Michelle Bendy Stitchy swear by Cosmo. Like, they love Cosmo. So, and Cosmo is also very stable. So I might contact them and I don't know, get a sample set or something so I can try designing in them. I don't know. But I'm not bougie. Like, I'm not, I stitch on Aida. I stitch on Aida from Michaels. I stitch with DMC. I am not an elitist when it comes to fiber arts. I feel like fiber arts should be available to everyone regardless of income, because for me, fiber arts are one of those things where you can do it relatively inexpensively. And so anyone can pick up a cloth napkin and embroider something on it. You don't have to have lots of fancy stuff. You don't. I stitch in hand. You don't have to have hoops and frames and stands. All you need is a piece of fabric or a piece of something, because you can stitch on other things, and a needle and thread and scissors. And that's really all you need. You don't have to spend a lot of money to enjoy the art form that we all enjoy so much. Anyway, that's my kind of my high horse, I guess. I didn't realize I had a high horse. But I'm really adamant about, like, stitching is for everybody, and you shouldn't have to feel like you have to buy expensive stuff to stitch. Yeah, that's how I feel. Anyway, the final stitchy thing, well, no, the next stitchy thing I want to talk about is a gift. So I'm not going to go into the whole story now. I know some of you don't know me and don't care about where I've been, and that's perfectly fine. But I did take an emergency trip to Idaho. My aunt was dying, and so my aunt has passed, and she left me essentially all of her fiber arts. Unfortunately, some of them we shipped, and they are like stuck in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm in Mississippi, northern Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi is not where I am, and UPS lost the box. But more importantly, the first thing that my aunt told me that I needed to take is in this basket. Now, this basket became kind of a catch-all for the small things that she gave me, including some fun spoons. But this was the piece that she especially wanted me to have. And it is a cross stitch / embroidery, and it's one of those where it's printed on. So this is not, I don't know that this is an even weave. And then I will finish the outside. But it is a sampler. So it's a sampler, and I will show you the image. And it is very much my bag. It feels very medieval-y. It's kind of reminiscent of the, what is that badger and unicorn? I don't even remember what it's called. The badger and the unicorn that a lot of people have been stitching for the past probably 2 years. But this is what it looks like. And it looks like it's a combination of cross stitch and embroidery, which is great. I love embroidery. But this bottom part is really just kind of wonderful. So I will be working on this in the coming year in honor of my aunt, who is no longer with us. And it has all the directions. This is called the Chased Sampler Kit. The company is Williamsburg by Elsa Williams. So that's that. And let me just get this in some semblance of order. And that's what it is. And you can see, I'm going to stand up and get really close. I hope you can see. Yeah, so it has the outline of everything on there. And so all of these are embroidery. So like long and short stitch and stem stitch and stuff like that. And then there are just the tiny little X's along the way. So yeah, back stitch, straight stitch, cross stitch. So that is a thing that I'll be working on. Sorry, I got a little wrapped up in trying to figure out what all the stitches were. So that's a thing that I'll be working on in the coming days. She even kept her needle in there. I think I'll probably use a smaller needle, and it looks like she was using 2 strands. 2 strands, it looks like. And it came with, there's other things in here too. There's some wire in here and some, oh, this is cool. Sorry, I'll show this to you after I show you the fabric. But you can see in here all of the colors are in there. So that's the color scheme. And I got this cute basket to keep it in. So, oh, it looks like there's scissors in here too. Little fiskars. Little scissors. So yeah, and it looks like she labeled them for me, which was nice. At least some of them are labeled. So I will, oh no, it looks like they're all labeled. They'll have these little tags. She put little tags on them with numbers, and I guess they're numbered in the pattern, but I haven't looked that closely at it. So that's a project. That's a new project, which I think will be fun. And now I'm going to pause you while I fold it all back up. All right, that's all folded up, but apparently this is a reproduction of a textile in Colonial Williamsburg. So Colonial Williamsburg, if you don't know what that is a English colonial reproductive village, essentially, in Virginia, where they have living history and stuff like that. So that's why that's the Williamsburg collection. Oh, I got a tie necklace, which I thought was amazing, and so I've been wearing it all the time. So I thought I'd wear it for you. And then the final thing that I just remembered that I got in that box was a linen tester. And you may be thinking, Christy, what is a linen tester? Well, I didn't know. So it's in this little pouch. Some of you probably already know this. It is a magnifying glass. Let's see. It is, although it doesn't have, how does this work? Oh, here we go. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, I just broke it. That's too bad. Well, what it was a magnifying glass with, you could see how things were stitched, but it broke off completely. I just broke the whole thing. Well, that wasn't very effective. All right, well, I won't be using that, although I probably still could. But you couldn't see it in the way that, oh, you were supposed to do it this way. I bent it too far. I totally broke it. That's too bad, because that would have been really useful. Anyway, what it was a... No, I was right. I was bending it the way it was supposed to go. But it was a linen tester that tested the count, the linen count. But I guess the plastic was just old. I mean, this looks pretty old. So they exist. And, you know, they exist. Oh, yeah, if you look at this, like this was all, that was all cracked. Okay, I feel less guilty now. Like, I was pushing it the way it was supposed to go. I'm just telling myself this, that I was pushing it the way it was supposed to go. It was just weak plastic. And I mean, this could be decades old. Decades old. My aunt has been a fiber artist for, you know, 60 years. So this could easily be that old. And this box is definitely an old-timey box. Okay, so that is what I have in this basket. I actually had an entire car full. Like, I'm looking at just boxes of things that I got from my aunt, fiber arts that I got from my aunt. So once that's all organized, I will take you all on a tour of the things that I got from my aunt. A lot of it was weaving focused, but I also got a really gorgeous sewing box that I've always wanted, the kind of sewing box I've always wanted. And I got her sewing machine, although I don't know, I have to see which one I like better, because I have a sewing machine that I know how to use, which in many cases, knowing how to use a sewing machine is kind of like the decision of whether you keep it, even if you have a slightly better sewing machine available to you. Okay, let's talk freebie pattern, back to school freebie pattern. I'm just going to show you on my iPad because I don't want to edit. So the freebie pattern is called is a back to school biscornu by Fabi or Fabi Riley Designs. I don't know how to pronounce it. This is in French and English, so I'm wondering if she's French, but I'll post the link to this down below. But how cute is that biscornu? Oh my God. How cute is that? And it says et la rentrée, which I'm assuming means that she's French, because it's you know, they've returned to school in French. But this is a freebie biscornu on her website. And there's even a product video if you want to like look at the whole thing. And what this pattern gives you is just the top square. And so you can either stitch it twice to have a double-sided biscornu, or you can stitch it once and then, you know, do other motify things on the corners just to make it sort of interesting. And I don't know if she teaches you how to do a biscornu, but there are really good tutorials for making a biscornu. But her patterns are really cool. She does a lot of 3D patterns. So we have like lots of biscornus. We have what is called a humbug. Let me show you, which is like a cone, like a triangle. This is not free. There we go. Which is not free, but it's like a 3D. She has a lot of, like, her patterns are very 3D, which I personally love. I love a 3D pattern. She has ornaments, all sorts of things, but the back to school biscornu is a free pattern, and I will link that down below. That is all the stitchy stuff I have to talk about today, and I actually took longer than I was expecting, so that's exciting. I thought it would be a really quickie for me. So those of you who like don't want to hear what I've been up to for the past 2 months or so, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you looking at my stitching and listening to my stories and whatnot. Those of you who'd like to stay longer and kind of hear what I've been up to, I'm happy to have you stay with me. I will have our coffee together and talk about, you know, July, August, and September, I guess. Yeah, so I had planned on, like I said, posting, I don't know if I said this, I had to start my video twice because I kind of started rambling on the first one. But I recorded the video, the intro twice. I had planned on posting regularly and stitching during summer. I had all these plans. I posted the freebie video and I'm like, yeah, maybe some people will like to see what I'm stitching and I'll do a freebie video and I'll just get more active on the internet, which I have been not as active as I wanted to be for the past 6 months or so, just because life got in the way. And then life got in the way. So that didn't happen. My grandfather died in July, and I have, I believe, spoken with you since then. He was a wonderful, wonderful man, and yeah, deeply missed. So Then I went on vacation with my friends. I saw my family, my normal July trip to see my family, and then I went and saw my friends. That's where I got this. And we went to Louisville, Kentucky, and Rich and I went vintage shopping, and I got this adorable necklace, which I love. I also got a really fun naked lady bracelet, which is super classy, and you don't realize it's a naked lady until you look at her, and she's amazing. And a couple other things too. I also went to the Embroiderers Guild of America headquarters and saw all their stuff, which was really cool. And then we came back, and my contract started. My contract starts August 1st, so I started my contract. I started building classes and doing paperwork and all those kinds of things. And I was really going to ramp up that. And then on August 11th, my mom called me and said that that my aunt had taken herself off dialysis and did not have long to live. So I sort of panicked, honestly. Like, I had a little bit of a panic attack. I had been feeling really down at that moment. I literally started hyperventilating. I have never done that before. Like I had to call my husband to bring me a paper bag. It was the craziest thing. And I had missed my grandfather's funeral, and I regret that. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go spend time with my aunt and my mom. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. So I drove to Idaho, which is a 29-hour drive. I slept in my car 2 nights. I told my dean that I would be working from Idaho. And so I went up to Idaho and had actually a really nice visit, like she was in the hospital and then in a nursing home, but she was lucid for a few days. I got to spend lots of time with my mom, and it was pretty surreal, but it was and I saw my uncles, one of whom I hadn't seen since like my wedding, and maybe I had seen him before since my wedding, but I just don't see that uncle very often. And so I got to see my family, and we were together. And I was planning on coming back, and then my mom got the call that my grandmother died. And so I realized that I couldn't leave. Like I didn't ask. Essentially, I told my dean, I said, things have taken a turn for the worse here, and I'm staying until my mom decides to leave, and I'm bringing her home with me. And so I don't know when I'll be home. I'll let you know when I know. I'm teaching fully online this semester, so it didn't affect my students all that much. So my grandmother died, and then my aunt died, as we were expecting. And we stayed a couple more days and loaded up my car with all these fiber arts and ceramics and glass. My aunt was not just a fiber artist, but was a ceramicist and a glass artist. And my mom and I took a little road trip. We spent some time in Bryce Canyon in the desert. And then we got home, and I put my mom on a train, and then I went back to work. I mean, that's kind of where it is. And so I'm mourning my aunt, I'm mourning my grandmother, I'm mourning my grandfather, and I just have not been stitching much or filming much. I've been stitching more, which is good, but I have not been stitching very much at all. So I'd like to get more into that. I'm no longer on my local arts council. There was a bit of a blow up there where, so that's disappointing. Although I did just go to a gallery opening last night, and it was not in any way weird. I didn't do anything wrong. There was kind of a one particular person thinks he is very, very smart, and has an ego, an enormous ego. And he, did not understand what was going on, and so accused me of being dishonest and lacking integrity and called for an investigation. We're hiring a new director, and he didn't actually understand how that process worked. And so when I said we couldn't do something because it was unethical, he got angry and kind of lashed out. And I'm like, I don't need this at all. I don't need this at all. So, peace out, because I don't have to put up with this. Now they eventually they did not do the unethical thing because of course it's unethical. So, you know, it's mostly he didn't know, but the way he approached it was just very, it wasn't asking what was going on. It was more telling me that I was bad, and I just don't have the energy for that. So I actually have a ton of way more free time than I was expecting, which gives me time to work on a book that I'm working on, gives me time to work on patterns that I'm working on. I just have to kind of get back into that headspace because I have been out of that headspace, and I need to start watching shows that I can just listen to, because watching shows I have to read is not conducive to me doing any art or craft. Anyway, so that's what's going on with me, and that's where I've been. But I'm back now, and the next 2 weeks I'm hoping to do Flosstube Friday. I have a standing date with a friend to have coffee at 10 a.m. But she's canceled this week and next week for various work and personal reasons. And so I actually have some time, which is nice. So I will film this week and then hopefully film next week, and maybe this weekend we'll get a bunch of stitching done first of all, maybe get a bunch of designing done, and then also get a bunch of sort of straightening up in here done, because you can't see, but behind me is just boxes and a giant loom and all sorts of things. So yeah, I need to take care of that so that I can show you all the things that I got. I also got a treadle Singer sewing machine before I left. And so that's like over there too. Anyway, lots of things are in the works over here. And I'm hoping that I have the energy and the fortitude to work on them, because I want to start making art again. Yeah. Okay, I think that'll be it from me. I don't want to keep you here too long, and I'm feeling a little babbly. Like, I feel like it's been so long that I just want to keep talking to you. So I will sign off. I do actually have to go to work. So I will sign off and go to work, post this, and yeah, and I'll talk to you when I have more things to show you, which I'm hoping is next week. I'm hoping to get more on a regular schedule this semester, which will be really nice. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.